Without further ado, we bring in the head coach of the New York Jets, Rex Ryan. Rex, it's Michael and Don. How are you today?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys?
We're doing all right. In your wildest, worst dream, could you have imagined that this team would be 1-4? And if so, how is this team 1-4?
Well, no, I mean, obviously, I never had that kind of dream about this team. Obviously, it hasn't gone our way. That's for sure. But as that old saying, you are what your record says you are, and obviously we know that we have a ton of work to do to pull ourselves out. It doesn't get easier, based on who the opponent is in front of us. But you know what? It's a huge challenge, and it's one that I know this team will embrace.
Do you still have faith in your quarterback?
Oh, absolutely. I got faith in everybody in this organization from top to bottom. And again, this thing, I think people, and I get it, rightfully so, that there'll be questions about this team when you're 1-4. Absolutely. It's not, it's not perfect by any means, but, this race is far from over, and, we got a ton of mud kicked in our face. We recognize that, but at the end of the day, we're not afraid of the challenges in front of us. We recognize the fact we got to get a lot better, but again, we'll be ready to do that.
Well, Geno hasn't rewarded your faith. I mean, he hasn't played well. He got fined $12,000 for yelling at a fan. He shows up and doesn't show up for a meeting for a very important game. So other than you just being loyal to your players, which is one of your biggest strengths, is there something you could tell us to why you still believe in your quarterback?
Well, I do believe in him. I definitely believe in Geno Smith, and I think, I see the things that a lot of fans and people outside this building don't see. I see the work ethic. I see the, when he's in here at, 8 o'clock in the morning on his day off, and bringing like 6 or 7 guys with him. I see those type of things when others don't. But the commitment's there from a preparation standpoint. I think he has ability, and I just think it's a matter of time before, we start, seeing seeing his play pick up and our play pick up.
This is the Rex Ryan Report, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts and Advanced Radiation Centers. Rex, all of us wish that we had a boss like you. I mean, this guy was on a business trip, and he missed the meeting. I mean, to me, that's unacceptable. I don't understand how you didn't suspend him, and why did he play that game?
Well, again, I think, not saying that, there won't be discipline or anything else, but, he's going to be treated just like any other player. Mistakes happen. Unfortunately, it was, we get it. It certainly wasn't intentional. He wasn't trying to skip out on anything. This young man does just the opposite. Like I say, he's here before anybody else in different meetings and everything else. He just made a mistake, and that's just the way it is. But I get it. It's was it important? Of course, it's important. As is every meeting. But and it's not something that's swept under the carpet. It'll be dealt with. But to say that, that he should be suspended or whatever, I wouldn't do that for any player. That, mistakes happen. If somebody, skips out on you, as unfortunately we saw happen, then that's a different story.
I'll tell you what, Rex, I mean, you are your own man, and you're going to make your own decisions, but Herman Edwards said the guy would be given a clipboard and say, just go over there. Steve Young was on with us yesterday and said, I have never in my life, in my entire life in the NFL, heard a player miss an entire meeting. I've heard players be late, never missing it. And this is one of the leaders of the team. What kind of message does it send to the team when the leader does not go to an important meeting?
Well,
even if it's not on purpose.
That meeting, I think it's kind of been shot. That was literally a 10-minute meeting. And so it's not it wasn't, that he missed a 2-hour meeting or something like that. It was kind of a 10-minute meeting. The reason he missed, it was an honest mistake. It had nothing to do with that he had, whatever, reasons. We know what the reason. It was a mistake that the young man made. Did he cover all the material? Absolutely. He got all that stuff in. But again, if Herm Edwards gets to coach another team again, then he can do exactly what he wants. But I'm going to run this team the way I see fit, not how Steve Young sees fit, not how Herm Edwards. No offense, but I don't care to be compared to him anyway.
Well, as I mentioned before, one of your best attributes is the fact that players will play for you and players like you, and you're a player's coach. But is there a fine line between being a player's coach and coming to the defense of your players and making sure that you also don't get taken advantage of?
Well, I don't think anybody that's ever played for me will tell you that, being a player's coach, the reason that I'm considered a player's coach is because I actually care about my players, period. It's not no other no other reason. That's it. I care about them, and I see them more than just as a guy playing for me. That's not it. I see these guys as people as well, and I recognize that. You know what? Guess what? They're not perfect. And I'm certainly not perfect, not by a long stretch. And maybe that I'm forgiving more of things than others, because that I certainly am not perfect. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I believe is best for this football team and this organization. And am I hard on my team? I absolutely am. But I don't have to do it in a public spectrum or anything else to show you how tough I am or anything else. I don't need to do that.
Now, Rex, we've had fun with you the first couple of weeks where you absolutely refused to name Geno your starter. You said everything has to be earned week to week, and now you're going out of your way to say he's the starter because you don't want a distraction. What has changed?
Well, no, I feel that he is a starter, and instead of going through last year or whatever it was, after we did bench Geno, that I thought, even though I felt that, hey, I'd look at it, but certainly I felt that Geno was going to be our starting quarterback. I thought that was the right move at the time, and it ended up being that way, and I believe it's the right move again this time.
Mario Davis went on record saying we're not practicing like a championship team. Do you agree with that?
No, I disagree. Again, I think, sometimes when, after an emotional game and things like that, you'd have to ask Mario about his specific comments, but I disagree. I think this team prepares great. I will agree that the results haven't been where we want them to be. Absolutely, I'd agree with that. But I like the way this team practices. I like the way this team prepares. And so, with that, I will disagree with Mario. But again, he certainly has the right to his opinion, and that's fine. But I was shocked by him, to be honest with you. I was shocked by those by those comments because of the simple fact that I have been part of championship teams and I've seen this team work.
Did you talk to DeMario about those comments?
I just I did talk to DeMario today about it, actually.
And what was the conversation like? Were you angry with him?
No, I mean, again, I talk to any of my players that are here. I go through them in the training rooms and all that. But, to me, I have some real honest conversations with this young man, and we have personal conversations as well. And in this, again, it'll be left between him and I, what was said.
All right, now let me take this time to actually defend you. I'm watching your post-game press conference on TV, and you take total blame for 31-0 shellacking. You're a good coach. There's no way that game is your fault. You're obviously being a good leader, but, I mean, Rex, you refuse to just maybe say the obvious that the team's not good enough. You're not a coach that's going to get out-coached 31-0. I can't accept that. It's got to be the talent on the field.
Well, unfortunately, I disagree with you because I think we have plenty of talent. I take responsibility. This is my football team, and I will take complete responsibility of the record of this team and of everything that happens with this football team. It's on my shoulders, and hey, I recognize what's being said out there and all that, but I'm not afraid of it. That I believe that we're going to, like as I mentioned, this race is far from being over, and again, people are going to say what they say. That's fine and dandy, but I have an opportunity to correct this, and we're going to. We want to win, and that's the that's the way we feel is going to happen. I believe in this team. I believe in everything about this organization, and I just think it's just a matter of time before we find our way.